Verizon is trying to answer the question, what happens when your telecom provider replaces customer service reps with AI? So they are finding out in real time. Verizon is actually partnering directly with Google to roll out a custom Gemini-powered chatbot that's handling customer service for millions of users. And so what happens is instead of talking to a human or even a traditional IVR type system, the customer will interact with a fine-tuned version of Gemini that's trained specifically on Verizon products and services and support flows. And of course, the goal is to reduce wait times, improve consistency of answers, cut support costs, so on and so forth. But this is a little bit different from what we've seen in the past because the AI bots are not just answering FAQs or rerouting calls, they're actually agentic in nature. So they're able to actually handle the full suite of customer tasks end to end. So if you need a change to your plan, if you need an account update, if you need help, troubleshooting some tech, the agent will be able to do these things, even make some billing adjustments, which is pretty interesting. But another thing that's sort of a key thing here is this was not an off the shelf solution. It actually required integration and custom deployment between Verizon and Google. So they worked actually together to fine tune this for Verizon's use case. It's already live for millions of users across the app, website, and call center channels. The company has said that human agents are still available for monitoring, for escalation, for maybe super complex tasks, but the bot is increasingly taking the lead. So some interesting stuff here. And hopefully, like I said, we'll see, Klarna came out with a similar story, albeit a different implementation strategy, and then later walked it back.
It's exactly where my head went when I saw that. I went, "Oh, hope this goes better for Verizon than it did for when Klarna tried something." It wasn't quite the same, but it was similar-ish.
Yeah, I hope so too. One sort of key difference that I think maybe gives Verizon an edge here over how Klarna did this is that Klarna worked directly with OpenAI, similar to how Verizon's working directly with Google, and they are leveraging the full sort of LLM available from OpenAI. What Google and Verizon did is they actually built a bunch of small language models that were fit for purpose for specific common tasks. And so I do wonder if that is going to be a better recipe for success than something that is a boil the ocean type of approach. The other thing that seemed a little bit foundationally different between the sort of end goals of Klarna versus Verizon is that Verizon sort of leaned into humans and AIs working together, right? That there's sort of seamless handoffs and there's iteration going on over time versus Klarna was like, we just want a full scale automate end to end, no humans in the loop type of thing. And I don't think the tech was ready for that. And so I think Verizon has a leg up on both of those strategy differences, but we'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, I also love the focus here on the outcomes. I mean, when you start with that, we wanna cut costs by firing a bunch of people. You're in a very different place and go, "Hey, I wanna reduce wait time, and I wanna increase speed to resolution," right? And if you're calling to we've all been there where you're calling Verizon to change a PIN or uh, I don't have Verizon, so I didn't try this. I don't have a Verizon account, or I would've called in and seen how it worked, but I don't have one. But, you're trying to do something simple, and your wait time is currently 20 minutes. You're like, "Oh god, what the fuck?" I just want And so the more you can offload those quick tasks, and do them easily, over time, of course, it will result in a lower sized workforce to complete the same tasks if you could do this. But I think starting from the how do we improve the user experience and offload the simple stuff and get the routing right and reduce the wait time. And then, of course, you can get to the reduction of staff, but it feels like it's got to be the after effect, not the driver of the thing. And this feels right. And also, I think very, very illustrative for anybody thinking about these kinds of projects, how in depth the work with Google was. This is not a grab an LLM and feed it a RAG model with all of your internal data and put it on the phone with your customers. There's a lot more work. It may get there at some point, right? But at least as of today, getting these models to work well takes a little bit more like just deep work, understanding the capabilities of the models, how to orchestrate it with the humans, with different maybe multiple models. So that deep work seems to be critical, I think, to this thing working well. But we'll have to follow up on this in a couple of weeks and see how the results and reviews have been.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's also a very interesting, like, human psychology element to how these things go out. Because one of the things that I'm hearing a lot of people struggle with in terms of AI adoption at their companies is, like, as soon as they say, "I wanna use AI to replace the human," There's no human buy-in on that. There's no human buy-in that like, "Yeah, I wanna work on this. I wanna make it really good." Nobody wants to do that, right? Versus, "Hey, we wanna augment and make their job easier, make their job, elevate their job, so that they're working on more complex things and not just talking to a bunch of angry people who've been waiting on hold for 20 minutes," and this type of thing. So there's like a very different psychological, outcome there in terms of the people working on the problem that I think is real because nobody is excited to work on a project whose end goal is to just replace all the humans.
Particularly if you're the human being replaced.
Particularly if you're the human. That's
Particularly if
right.
you Yeah, but I think that's right. That focus on what can we do to improve your job day to day, what can improve our customers' experience. And I think just like every engineer knows there's 20 features you didn't get to, every customer service rep or call center manager knows that there's like more phone calls than you really are ready to handle at many moments, and people are waiting, and like that's not what you want. Nobody wants that. And so that's a problem that's ready to be solved. And it's a very different framing of the same rough technology that you're deploying, the same kind of use case that you're using, but it's a very different framing of the problem you're trying to solve and what you're trying to do. And I think that makes a big difference in getting people excited and and bought into actually working on this and making it work well.